Lori here, I'm back. It's 8:24 on September 5th. This is like the last week weekend I'm really off because I go back to work. I have to report to work on Tuesday. So I wanted to do like a mini get ready with me to go back to school, but also like a mini readathon for the next 3 days. I'm gonna try to read a lot. I have three reads that I'm gonna hopefully be able to finish by Monday, by Tuesday when this reading vlog will end. But yeah, let's get into it. The first book I actually started late last night was Bookish and the Beast by Ashley Poston. This is the third book in the Once Upon a Con series. It is a loosely inspired Beauty and the Beast retelling. I'm about 56 pages into it. And it basically follows these two characters, Rosie and Vance. Vance is one of the stars of the Starfield movie series, and Rosie lives in this small town with her dad. And their paths wind up unexpectedly crossing due to this adorable dog. And a book in the Starflight series, which is like out of print, something happens to it, and they kind of have to work together to get the book to make that okay. I don't want to give too much, but they have to kind of work together so they don't get in trouble. I will admit I loved Geekerella. It's probably one of my favorite contemporary books of all time. I like Princess and the Fangirl. This one I'm really enjoying. I'm only 50 pages in. It's really not that long. It's not even 300 pages. So my goal is to finish this book today. Then I want to read A Song Below Water by Bethany Seymour. This is also a very, very short book. And I've heard mixed things about it. I've heard some okay things about it, but I got it from my library and I'm trying to finish all of my library books so I can return them this week by Tuesday before I go back to work. And by mixed things, I've heard that the contemporary elements of this book is very, very strong. I've heard that the mythology elements need a little bit more work. So this is my next read. And then the last read I hope to finish or be done close done with before Tuesday is Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This is definitely the longer read. It's not that long, but it's almost 350 pages. So this is a book that's set in one day. After high school's over, they play a game called Hal, I think, and you have two characters, and it's kind of like a love-to-hate romance. But I really love books that are set in one day. So this is my general TBR. As I said before, I have a lot of stuff and errandy stuff I have to get done today. I kind of been putting a lot of stuff off just because I didn't want to do everything and then have to undo it. So I'm going to do a couple of my errandy things. I'm going to try to go walk to town and get my eyebrows done because that's an important step of going back to work. But I do have quite a few little things that I have to get done. So I'm going to go see how much I can get done, and then probably if I do wind up walking to town, I'll probably wind up reading this because it's just fun. It's just a lighthearted read, and I love Ashley Poston's writing. And actually, one of my goals is to also finish her backlist, which I actually only have one book at this point to do that with, which is actually not that bad. But I'm going to go start my errands, and before I head out, I'll probably update you guys on how I'm doing. This is all the things I have to do, which is quite a lot, so I better get to work. Bye. It's Lori here, I'm back. It's about 11 o'clock. I did actually wind up going to get my toes done for work. I got my eyebrows done, and because I was getting my toes done, I did actually wind up reading a little bit more of Bookish and the Beast. Now on page about 120, which means I'm about halfway done. Really, this book is so charming. If you liked Geekerella and you were not as, Princess and the Fangirl didn't, draw you in, this might be the one for you because I'm really, really enjoying it. I will admit, Beauty and the Beast has always been one of my favorite Disney stories, definitely by far. This book has so many, nice tie-ins and, look-backs and little Easter eggs connected back to the story that reminded me so much of Geekerella when she did it. I'm really, really charmed. I love a library. If you give me a book set in a library or in a bookstore or, anything like that, I'm gonna love it. And this one has a very, very fun library. So fan to me. They talk about Star Wars in this book. They talk about Star Trek, Starfield. I like both characters a lot. One of my favorite tropes of all time is a movie star or someone famous falls for someone not famous. I always love that trope. I don't know why, I just like it. Maybe it's because in my young heart, I wish I would have married Joshua Jackson, but we don't always get our childish dreams. But it's just so fun. I'm loving the diversity in it as well. There's a non-binary character. I don't know if she's non-binary, but she goes by they and them as her pronouns, which I'm really really liking. And it's just great. You also do get tiebacks directly that do have an impact on Geekerella, which I am super enjoying. It's just so fun. And there's a dog. I love animals in books as long as they're not in peril. I love animals. But it's just so charming. Like it's just great. Like I don't want to put this book down. It's just super charming. So I'm going to go for a bike ride because and then I'm gonna go read a little more in the park, come back, and probably do my errands before lunch. I still have quite a few errands, but we'll get into the errands later because some of them were gonna be fun to track down. Bye. Right here. That actually took me much longer than I thought. I was waiting for my uncle to come home with food and it just took a while. But I don't think I mentioned in the earlier clip in this reading vlog that I am also listening to Escape from Houdini by Carrie Metasalco. I read about, I would say about like listened to like 3 hours, I would say, of that audiobook. I'm reading it on 2.52 speed, so I'm reading it a little bit quicker. But I really am liking it. I liked book 1. I struggled a little bit with book 2. But book 3 is like they're all like on like a cruise ship and Harry Houdini is there and there's a string of murders that Aubrey Rose and Thomas Cresswell have to kind of solve. But I'm really liking it. I think I'm really enjoying listening it to because the narrator is also English, so I'm finding that to be super fun. So that's what I've been listening to. But I also did, in Waiting for My Food, I wound up getting up to page about 190 in Bookish and the Beast by Ashley Poston. Still loving this book. It's so charming. Definitely such a fandom read. Like, I'm really, really liking it. I'm loving how she's kind of twisting the Beauty and the Beast myth. And kind of adding things in. I really love both characters. This is the sort of Hollywood romance I like. I loved Geekerella, but Darian's a very, very different type of character than Vance's, I think. Is that his name? Vance, yeah. Very, very, very different type of character and very, very different type of celebrity than Vance's. Rosie is a very different type of character than Ella's, and I'm really, really liking that. Every book kind of has like a character type or like a little animal. We had Frank in book 1, who I adored. We had a cat in book 2, which I thought was okay. But this book, this character, Sasha, is really, really fun. And also, like, the book is structured by like, because she's basically trying to like, to work off the debt for the book that they destroyed. They both have to kind of put this library together, or kind of like organize this library and kind of like catalog this library. So every part of this book, a section starts off with like a little page from that book that is like loosely tied to like that book that they lost, and there's like there's a bunch of different tropes that come in. I'm really really liking it. Very 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 fun. I am gonna spend an hour or so kind of doing my errandy stuff that I have on my list because it is quite a bit, and I know that this week is going to be even more insane with everything else going on. So that's my plan. I'm going to try to make quite a bit of progress. We finally got our calendar for the school year. So I'm going to kind of put everything into my actual calendar and kind of make that all official because I really wanted to know when we had off. So if I do decide to go away, I can go away now that I at least have like time frames. I don't think I'll be going anywhere until next summer. If I decide to go anywhere, I will probably be back to Florida because my trip got canceled. So hopefully by then the world will be in a little bit better shape. But I'm gonna go make some progress on my errands, and then when I'm done with that, I'll check in with you guys when I start reading Bookish and the Beast again. Bye. Sorry, here I'm back. I finally did wind up finishing most of my errands. I still have to do a couple of more, but I'm waiting to do those closer to when I actually go to work, so I'll probably do like Monday. I need to like pack my bag for school, which means I have to find all my stuff that has gone other places in my house. Normally I just keep everything in my backpack, but because I haven't used my backpack since March, everything is kind of it's not in my backpack anymore. Like I don't use that backpack for anything other than when I go to work. And I don't even know where it is. I think I put it somewhere after COVID and I have to go find it. And then there's just a lot of stuff I got in like book boxes, and I bought stuff since March thinking, oh, we're gonna go back in June, and then we didn't go back in June. So I have a lot of stuff that I have to like search for. I'll probably do that a little bit tomorrow. But I do want to make some more progress on Bookish and the Beast. I'm on page 190. Still didn't make much progress on that. But I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll update you guys when I read about 50 more pages. Bye. Here, I'm back. I did wind up doing a quick workout. I wound up eating, but I'm back. I did wind up reading to page 230 in The Bookish and the Beast. I'm really, really liking this book. Very, very fond of it. I'm liking how they're kind of twisting the myth in like a couple of different ways. But I'm really curious. Like there's also another element that the Gaston character is determined to get Rosie to go to prom with him. Determined. And you can see like that's not what she wants, and she also has two best friends that are trying to win prom king. So he won't win prom king, so she won't feel obligated to go with him to prom. So I'm just curious how like these two stories, like Vance, right now no one knows Vance is in town. The only person that knows Vance is in town is like a small group of people. But a plot twist has happened that I'm curious if like that's going to connect back to that. I kind of have a feeling how it's going to end, and I'll, we'll see. But I just know the ending of Beauty and the Beast is like, just like an interesting ending. So I'm curious like how she's going to kind of turn that into a contemporary book, I guess. I'm curious. I'm going to keep reading. I have a theory, but I could be wrong. But I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll update you when I get about 50% into it. I mean, when I read to the next part of it, because the book is broken up into sections. But so far, really, really enjoying it. This is definitely going to be either a 4.5 star read or a 5-star read, because I'm loving the characters, loving the myth, really, really, really liking everything. I love the rep. There was also an interesting representation for Rosie's dad, which I was not expecting like at all. And Sasha's just adorable. So I'm about to reading. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. So here it's about 5:30. I did wind up getting up to the point that I thought I was going to, which is 350, which is right at the part 4 of this book called The Hero. But yeah, it definitely went the way I thought it was going to go. It's not like a very, very exciting trope, I'll say that, but it's one that I kind of expected. It kind of went the way I thought it was going to go. But I'm perfectly happy with that. It's kind of what I planned and predicted. But I'm curious to see how it ends. There's a lot of moving pieces in this book, and I hope that there is some resolution to the other characters that we had in the other books. Like one of Vance's friends is the lead character in Princess and the Fangirl, Imogen. So that's a connection that we did have. There's a lot of drama going on with Elle and Darian in the first book because of Vance's actions. So I'm curious if that's going to wind up. But yeah, there's just a lot of moving pieces, and I'm really curious how it's going to wind up. So I'm going to go probably tackle the rest of this, and then I'll come in and give you guys my ending thoughts. Hey guys, Laurie here, I'm back. I just want to say that I did want to finishing Bookish and the Beast by Ashley Poston. I am going to go run a few like minor errands, and then I'm going to come up and officially wrap up my thoughts on this book because I'm still torn between two ratings. I don't know which one I'm going to give. But overall, it was a delight to read. I read this book in about one day. It was such a fast read. But I'll be back to give you guys my thoughts in the next clip. Bye. I'm back. I did wind up running my few errands, and I wound up collecting my thoughts. But I really wound up liking Bookish and the Beast. I think, honestly, this is going to be a 5-star read for me. I loved Geekerella, gave Geekerella 5 stars, read it in like a day. I thought I gave Princess and the Fangirl when I first read it 5 stars, and then I wound up re-listening to Geekerella, and I think it's more like a 4-star read. But I still really, really liked it. I thought that book tackled harder social issues, like, because it dealt with like Jessica as like a female in the science fiction industry, and that's never easy. And I think that it dealt with some really interesting topics. I just struggled a little bit with the dual characters. I like the characters. I just wish I felt like they were both not given the attention that they needed in that book. Felt like they needed 2 separate stories almost, but still liked it. This book had what I like. This book was perfection. I really, really loved it. I love that it took the Beauty and the Beast myth and twisted it. I mean, it may be because I'm just a big Beauty and the Beast fan. Like, as general, I love that fairy tale. I love that movie. This was great. I thought it was so good. I love how Vance became the Beast character, or like was an allegory for the Beast character. I am such a sucker for bad boys in Hollywood, or just like actors in general. I thought that he was very different from Darian, and Rosie was very different from Elle. And I thought that that was really imperative, because it really could have become like a basically like just a replication of that story. Sasha was great. I just love the side characters in this story. There was a lot of diversity in this read as well, and not just for in general, but there was just a lot of diversity. I thought the Gaston character in this book was really, really fun. There was also subtle hints to it. It was great. I wound up giving it 5 stars. I really, really love this series. I really hope we get another one. I'm like so addicted for the series. The one thing I wish is that we would have had a little bit more con elements in this, because it was very much just at the start of it, and I love books about conventions. And because like I have not been going to conventions recently, I missed that, but it just was like I just wanted like more of that. But that really wasn't Rosie's life in this moment, so that's okay. But definitely a 5-star read. So I am gonna pick up A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. I just know this is about black mermaids. That's the only thing I know. I know that it's like a mix between contemporary and not contemporary, so there's like a fantasy twist to it. That's all that I really know. So I'm going to go dive into this and read about 50 pages and kind of report back. I do have the audiobook as well. I just got it from my library, so I don't think I'm going to wind up reading, like physically listening to it, but I might. So I'm going to go read this, and I'll update you guys when I can. Again, it's not that long of a read, so I should be able to finish it in quicker, because these are about the same pages, and this took me like about a day to read. So, all right, talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Here I'm back. I did wind up reading up to page 36 in A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. I am liking it. I'm liking the diversity elements of it. Basically, it follows these two characters. I don't remember their names. One is named Effie, and one is named Tavi, I think. They're best friends, I would say, but I think they live together. Like, I'm only 30 pages in, so I feel like there are some elements of both their past that I don't know quite yet. But one of them is a siren, and she's an African-American character, and she's a siren. But there's a lot of different magical elements that are connected in this world. And a siren has been killed. And that makes their family very, very nervous, because it may lead them to finding out that they're sirens, I think. I will admit, I've only read 36 pages, and this is definitely a book I feel like I can't really read with like background noise. Or at least like not the first 100 pages of it. So I think what tomorrow I'll do is I'll probably like go to the park, and I'll probably read for a little bit. It's not that long. I'm liking the diversity elements of it. The world building is just a little bit confusing. Like, I feel like there's a lot of characters in here. There's gargoyles, there's mermaids, there's other characters. So I feel like that part is being like flushed over, and there are 2 characters, but their voices aren't very unique yet. So like I keep like thinking, like, okay, one character is one thing, but one character's not. Like, their voices aren't super clear yet. I'm hoping by the end they will become a little bit more clearer. I have some questions about Effie's character, because she's just kind of living with Tavi, and I want to know why. I just have like a few questions. But yeah, I'm gonna probably stop reading for the night, and I'll probably pick this up tomorrow. But definitely, I've been trying to read a little bit more diversely. That's been one of my major goals since COVID began. And this is definitely one that is high on that list. So I'm going to go watch a couple of episodes of Good Witch, because I'm almost at the end of season 3, which I'm really, really liking. And I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. Bye. Here I'm back. It's about 2 o'clock. Just the day got away from me. I'll be a little bit honest. I went to yoga. I ran up to town. I did some shopping for school on Wednesday. Tried to figure out what I'm going to bring to school with me on Tuesday, going back to school Tuesday. Jeez. But I also, in the interim, I did want to making quite a bit of progress on A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. I think I'm going to stick to that book as an audiobook. I am really liking it. I'm liking the mix between the contemporary elements, but also the world building, like the magical elements. I think it's a kind of fun dynamic between it. But both storylines, I think, are just not as developed as I would like, so I think I'm getting a little bit confused. The voices for the 2 characters are a little bit similar to me as well. But I am liking that. I'm probably going to keep listening to that tomorrow. But I do want to pick up a that is a graduation themed novel, and it just came out, so it's high on my TBR. So I think I'm gonna pick this one up and kind of sit outside. Today is also National Read a Book Day. So that's kind of my plan of attack. I'm going to tackle this book, start it anyway, and see how far I can get today. Yeah, so that's kind of my plan. I actually did wind up finishing all of my errands, which is pretty good. So the only thing I have to do is kind of sit back and read. So I'm gonna go do that, and I'll check in with you guys when I make a little. Here I'm back. It's almost 5:30. I will admit today was like not my best reading day because I was doing a lot of stuff. I went to yoga, I walked to town, I did some organizing for school. I really want to devote tomorrow hopefully to just reading all day. It's my last full day home. I'm gonna spend the rest of the night reading. I think I'm gonna do one more and I'm gonna start. But I want to say that just come in because I did wind up reading up to page 94. I did take a walk before dinner. I'm really fun, like enjoying this book. It has some of my favorite tropes. I love books that are set over one day, which this book is. I love books that deal with graduation, which this does. It's set the day after, well, the day before they graduate technically. I love books that have like a scavenger hunt or like a game of some type, which this book does. So it has a lot of my favorite elements. I also love to hate romances a lot. But basically it follows these two characters, Rowan and Neil, and they're kind of butting heads. They're very like goal oriented, and they're both in line to be like valedictorian, and they've been competing up against each other for all 4 years. So the night that valedictorian is announced, it doesn't go the way that either of them kind of predict. But right after that happens, they have a game which is called Howler, which is kind of like Assassin. I played Assassin when I worked at a summer camp, but then it's also combined with a scavenger hunt around Seattle. So they're on like two separate teams, like they're competing against each other, which is what Assassin is, and you like kill each other. Well, take each other's bands, I guess. But at the start of this book, Rowan, this book is only told from Rowan's point of view, not Neil's. But Rowan finds a letter that she wrote to herself at the start of high school that tells her the 10 things that she wanted to accomplish. She starts to realize she didn't really accomplish a lot of the things that she wanted, and she's starting to like doubt what she did do, and she's having some friendship dynamics with her friends that she wasn't necessarily expecting. And then you have Neil, who is just adorable. Neil's a redhead. I have a thing for redheads. Blame my rub of Ron from Harry Potter. I always have a thing for redheads. So I really like that. But yeah, I read about 94 pages, and I'm just going to keep reading, to be honest with you, tonight. But yeah, that's kind of my plan, my game plan. But I'll update you guys when I read a little bit more in today, tonight, tomorrow. Bye. It's about 6:43. I did wind up reading up to page 114. I'm really enjoying this book. I always love books that kind of deals with like friendship dynamics in like a really cool and unique way. And Rowan's friends are two girls. They are in a relationship together, which always complicates a friendship dynamic like a lot. But some truths were revealed about her that I don't think she was necessarily expecting. Also, the game is in nice, like it's started, which I always like when like games are a part of a book. But yeah, we also throughout this book we are getting like outside elements, so like, you know, a transcript of something or like a email conversation from like a year ago. I like that because I think it helps you just kind of flesh out the world, and it does make me feel like I know these characters a lot longer than I necessarily do. But the friendship stuff is not something I was necessarily expecting, but I'm really liking it, and I'm curious to see where the rest of the book goes. I also like that every chapter is a time frame because it really is over like 24 to like 48-hour period. So I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Hi, Larry here. I'm back. I just want to say that I did wind up getting up to page 150 in Today, Tonight, Tomorrow. It's definitely a book that has a strong element of characters who don't necessarily like each other having to work together, and I do like that. I also didn't mention Rowan really likes romance novels. That's like a big thing for her, and people tend to be very harsh with her about it. They don't think it's good. They don't think it's like an appropriate thing to read. And I tend to get that a little bit when I read YA. I'm just turned 33, and I tend to get that a lot, that like I should not be reading YA novels. I should be reading something more productive or more exciting, and it always makes me a little bit angry, and I feel like her and Neil are kind of having that conversation. But I'm loving the adventuring elements of the scavenger hunt. I also like that it does give like you just like snapshots of their day together. That reminds me a little bit of the book Amy and Roger's Epic Detour from Morgan Matson, which had elements like that as well. But it's just so fun. It's like a book that I just don't want to put down, and one that I'm really enjoying. So I'm gonna keep reading and see how far that I can get tonight. But I will definitely be able to finish this book tomorrow. Talk to you guys later. Here, I'm just checking back in. It is 8:38. I did wind up getting up to page 186 in Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I'm really quite fond of this book. I will say that right now. I love books that have a trope about like an adventure quest. I love to hate romances. I always love them. But the one thing that this book is doing so well is it's really developing a relationship between these characters. Even though they've known each other for 4 years, you're really diving into the complexities of their lives. It's just so well done. I love that it's talking about their hobbies. There was a twist that happened with Neil's dad. I don't want to give it away, that I really liked. It was just so well done. There was a twist about Neil in regards to her parents, which I really like. And it's also about being we all have things that we love and we're fans of. Like, I just think that that is being portrayed so well in this book. It's kind of funny that I'm reading this book back to back with Bookish and the Beast, which is right here, because they both have very strong elements of fandom, and that is definitely like the highlight of the book for me. Like, I'm really enjoying it. I think the element of them working together on this quest is just fun. But there's also an element of them working against their graduating class, which I don't want to be too spoilery about, but that is something that I am liking like a lot. It's just great. And I think that like at the end of high school you start to reevaluate a lot of things. It's a great read. Like, I really don't want to put it down, but I am trying to go to bed earlier, like not like now, but like I do have to start waking up super early. So I think I'm gonna watch a little bit of The Good Witch, and then I'm probably gonna head to bed because I do have to wake up at 5:15 Tuesday morning to go to work. So we'll see how that all shakes out. But I will update you guys tomorrow morning. Tomorrow I'm going to try to do a 24-hour reading vlog starting at like 8 o'clock in the morning and going on because it's my last full day off. But yeah, I will check in with you guys tomorrow morning. Right here, I'm back. It is September 7th, which means this is my last day off, which I'm excited to head back to work. Like, I miss my coworkers a lot. I miss seeing my kids. So I'm excited in some ways. I'm not excited for my commute. But I did wind up finishing one of my Skillshare classes that I was in the middle of. I am going to dive into Today, Tonight, Tomorrow. I did get up to page like 190 last night, which I'm really proud of myself for reading so far. Still really loving it. It's a very fast-paced read. It's definitely like a fun read, but it does deal with a lot of harder topics. Like, for me, it's like a perfect contemporary. It has a lot of my favorite elements. So I'm gonna go do a little bit of things like errandy stuff, and then I'm gonna go for a bike ride. And I'm gonna try to finish A Song Below Water today. That's my plan of attack for that, and hopefully make some progress on Today, Tonight, Tomorrow. So when I come back from that stuff, I will update you guys about it and let you guys know my thoughts on both books. Bye, guys. I'm back. I did actually wind up taking a bike ride. I wound up listening to about an hour of A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow between my bike rides. I really am liking that book. I'm liking all the focus on like the contemporary sides of that novel. Like, I think it's talking about a lot of diversity issues. It's talking a lot about racism. They're using the siren myth, I would say, as a very interesting entry point into that. But the supernatural side of things is just a little bit, like, it's not as strong, and I almost feel like I'm reading two separate books combined. I do like both characters' point of views. I feel like their voices sometimes are not as unique, and I sometimes forget whose head I'm in because I am listening to the audiobook. But still really liking it. I also did make a bit more progress on Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I'm on page 239. This book definitely took it, like, you know, they're kind of trying to solve all these clues to win this competition. But some things are kind of impeding in their paths. I'm loving the friendship of these characters that's kind of developing in this read. I always like books that go from friends to something more. So that's like, it's a nice, like, we're kind of in the friendship stage. I don't know if it's going to progress past that. But it's a very, very fun, engaging read. There's also a lot about like hobbies and reading, and a lot about what girls like is always sometimes counted, like discounted. Like if I were to pick up a romance book, people would be very, very highly critical of that sometimes. Or if I, people want to like watch soap operas, sometimes that's very, very highly critical. Or you want to watch like a love story. So I find that conversation that Rowan's having with her parents and with Neil is really interesting, because it's come up a lot in my life. Like, I read YA novels a lot of the time. You guys watch my channel, that's why you're probably here, because you read YA too. But a lot of times throughout my life, people say, "You still read YA? Like, shouldn't you read something more like important?" It's just what I like, and I'm not gonna apologize for that. But I feel like that's the conversation Rowan's having, because she really does want to write romance novels, and her parents are authors, they're children's authors, but even her parents aren't as supportive as she would like them to be. But it's a very, very fun read. Like, it's very, very fast paced. Again, it is all based around travel and a scavenger hunt outside, and boy, do I like watching that, because it's something that we haven't done for a while, and I'm just really into the escapism aspect of it. I'm definitely gonna go walk up to town. I wasn't planning on doing that today, but it's my last real day off, and I want to go get a bagel and like relax and stuff like that. But I am gonna take this book along, and I'll probably read it on the way up and read it on the way back. But when I come back from my errand, I'll update you guys. Bye. Hey, Fleur here, I'm back. I've settled into my reading spot for the rest of the day. I'm gonna read here until my computer dies, which I have a full battery, so it should be okay. But I did wind up walking up to town and walking back, so now I'm on page 282 in Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. It's just such a fun read. This is like the part of the read that I'm really curious what direction it's going to go in. Because you start these two characters who started off the book really like not liking each other and always being in like an argumentative side, because they're competing for something always, and now they're kind of working together. And I'll be curious like where the story goes. Like, it could end in two very, very different ways, so I'm curious where it goes. But I'm really, really fond of it. One thing I wanted to happen in this book happened. I'm not going to spoil it here, but there was one element that I was kind of hoping would happen, which did, which is very, very exciting. But I'm going to head back to reading, and I'll update you guys when I have about 30 pages left. Bye. Sorry, here, I'm back. Sorry, I hope you could hear me. There's like a lot. I've lived near a train station, and I live near like a plane, like where planes come, so if there's a little bit of background noise, I apologize. But I'm just really, really comfortable out here. But I did wind up getting up to page 313 in Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This definitely hit the crux of the story, and I think that that's the beauty of a love-hate relationship, or someone that you always comp or fight with, or are in like a combative relationship like Neil and Rowan are, because you always know the buttons to push, especially because over the course of the past 24 hours, they really did learn a lot about each other, and now they're just kind of using it as ammunition in their fight. They're also two very, very stubborn characters, which I am a very, very stubborn person, so I understand like their fighting elements, which I think is super compelling, but they also knew how to throw a really, really hard punch into the gut. So I'm really curious how this book is going to wrap up. I have about 30 more pages left, I think, so I'm going to go back and tackle the rest of it, and then I'll come back and give you guys my full thoughts. Bye. Flurry here, I'm back. I did wind up finishing Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. Sorry, the cover's in my bedroom, but really wound up liking this. I wound up giving this 5 stars. It was such a good read. I think I've said this before, but I love that this character focused on Jewish characters. Both characters were Jewish, and I can't recall the last time I read a book that really, really explored that, and I think it's important. I don't think religion is as often, or like cultural backgrounds are as often put in books, and I really like that it was not something I've read before, and I like their point of view on a lot of different things. There was also racial elements in this book. There was a lot of microaggressions that were happening that I think happen a lot more than you think that they do. But I love the love to hate trope. I love that, even though this book took place over 24 hours, I feel like it accomplished a lot. Sometimes when I read 24-hour books, I'm not tied into it, because the characters don't know each other at the start of the 24 hours. These characters have a lot of connection, and you see that through the found documents that are kind of throughout the book that kind of detail their relationship, and they kind of talk about their relationship a lot. But I felt like there was so much buy-in because they had been friends for 4 years, or they known each other for 4 years, or they competed against each other for 4 years. It was great. I know that this is definitely like one of her more lighthearted reads. She has two other books and they're a little bit more hard hitting, but this one I just loved. Like I really really liked it. I thought it was solid. I'm always a fan for a quest element or like a scavenger hunt element. I felt that I learned a lot about Seattle. I've been to Seattle once because my cousin actually lives there, but it's been a while. But I like that that was an element of it. It was great. So I'm gonna go choose my next read because I didn't plan on finishing this early. I think I might read Wire and Nerves by Marissa Meyer because it is a book club book that I have to read and I could probably tackle a lot of it today. And then I'm probably gonna go for a bike ride and I'm gonna enjoy my last bike ride of summer. But yeah, I'm gonna go do that, and then when I come back, I'll update you guys on what I started to read, and the audio and any updates on my audiobooks. Bye guys. Hi guys, Lori here. I'm back. I did actually wind up reading a little bit of Wires and Nerves by Marissa Meyer. This is volume 1. I do still have to get volume 2. But I've had these for a while, but I never wound up picking them up. But I just finished the Lunar Chronicle series, and this is actually the collection that we're reading for the Time Warp YA Book Club. The link is always in the description box. But this follows Aiko. She's the android in the series. We had a short story of her in the Stars Above anthology that I really, really wound up liking. But this one's a little bit different because she's the lead character. And at the end of, I'm going to give you a little spoiler for the end of Winter. So if you haven't read that, just kind of fast forward a couple minutes. The end of Winter, all the wolves in Levana's care were just sent to Earth. So they've been going around killing people, and Aiko decides to help her best friend out, Cinder, by trying to track them down. Because they can't really be sent there as like a political operative because you shouldn't do that. But she's gonna kind of take it upon herself and go do that. So I've read 2 chapters. I'm gonna try to tackle the rest of this today. But I am gonna go eat. I'm gonna do that, and then I'll come back and we'll kind of check in when I read a little bit more. Talk to you guys in a bit. Right here, it's about 6 o'clock. It's like 5:49. But I did wind up doing a couple of little errand stuff for school because I am going back to work tomorrow. I did like all the pre-screening stuff. I still need to set my alarm, which I'm really not looking forward to doing because I had to wake up at 5:15 tomorrow morning. Also, the trains are making my commute going to be a little bit interesting tomorrow because there's fewer trains due to all the COVID stuff. So that'll be fun. But I did want to say that I wound up getting up to chapter 4 in Wires and Nerves, the Lunar Chronicles. My goal is to finish this tonight. That's my goal. But it's definitely a lot. It's involving the other characters a lot more. I kind of thought this was going to be a book that's only featuring Aiko, but you definitely see like a lot of them. Like Cress, like Cinder is a character in this. So is Cress and Thorn, who are my 2 favorite characters in that series. So I'm liking that they're kind of have a moment in here as well. And then there's a character that is determined to get something from Cinder, which I think is going to tie into what Aiko's doing because Aiko's trying to track down all of the manufactured lunar wolves, which Levana made, which is really, really interesting. So I'm going to go back to reading and I'll update you guys when I read another chapter. Bye, guys. Lori here. I'm got up to page about 132 in Wires and Nerves by Marissa Meyer. I'm going to take a little bit of an Animal Crossing break because this is like the last time I think I can play like every single day in a row. So I'm going to try to play for a little bit and then I'm going to kind of come back and see how far I can get in this. It's not a lot of pages. I think I can probably finish it. We'll see. It's only like 236 pages and I'm at 132, so it's like 100 pages left, which I can still probably finish. So I'm gonna go play a little bit of Animal Crossing and then I'm gonna check back in when I'm done with Wire and Nerves. May that be today or tomorrow, I don't know, but that'll be my next update. Bye guys. Lori here. I just am here to wrap up this reading vlog. I did wind up reading 3 books this weekend, which is pretty awesome, especially because it's my last the last hours before I have to go back to work. But I just want to wrap up what I read. I did wind up finishing the first volume of Wires and Nerves by Marissa Meyer and art by Day Colgate. This was definitely not what I was necessarily expecting, but I loved it. I really like how all the characters were finally given a face. I've been reading about these characters for years, so I love that they really were like put on the page. If you love the Lunar Chronicle series, this is definitely something you should check out. I think it even goes beyond like the epilogue that we got in The Stars Above, but it just follows Aiko on these missions, but you also check in with all the other characters, and I have to admit, I think Thorne is my favorite drawing that we have, but we also see all the other characters. I like seeing Aiko in a leadership role, like in like a lead role. There's some romance brewing for her, which I really like. And for those that don't know or never read the Lunar Chronicles, Aiko is an android. Um, so there's a lot of, some people are very, very have negative thoughts about androids, but I would wind up giving this one 5 stars. I really can't wait to get my hands on BookTube. I don't actually own a copy, but I did put a hold on the library. Hopefully it comes in soon. But this was a 5-star read. I actually think everything I read in this reading vlog was 5 stars, and that like never happens. But 5 stars early this morning. I wound up finishing Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon, which I also really enjoyed. I mean, it was a great one-day contemporary about the aftermath of high school, and there was like a competition along with a love to hate romance. Really, really liked it. When I'm giving this one 5 stars. And the first book I started this reading vlog with was Bookish and the Beast by Ashley Poston. This was another love to hate romance. I have a trend with me. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Love this. I don't know which one of this one, Geekerella, or this one's my favorite, but they're both so fun, and I really, really had a fun time reading them. So yeah, I'm going to wrap up this reading vlog, and then I'm going to go start my other reading vlog, which is going to be my first week of school. That will be entertaining for you guys to watch. So I'll see you guys later. I hope you guys are being safe and being well.